Well, good morning. This is Gong, and it is a mindfulness practice that helps really reorient the systems of the body. And it's really anchored in a practice of observing and regulating our breath. So during the course of today's class, I'm really going to focus on the breath as the primary driver of our movements. Normally, in a fitness class, which I have 25 years of history of teaching, it's all about the physical movements. It's about muscle contractions and cardiovascular endurance. And Qigong pretty much flips the script, and it's about breath, and it's about placing an emphasis on how we are relaxing the cardiovascular system through breath, and we are moving in fluid movements with very, very little muscle contraction. We will really rely on the muscles in our legs and glutes to maintain our postures in Qigong, but the upper body motions are very, very fluid. And strangely, through this practice, we increase muscle strength and improve cardiovascular endurance. So it's just an entirely different way. There are different paths to wellness and to fitness, and this is one that I find really fascinating because it doesn't really follow the principles that we understand through our Western exercise physiology mindset, yet it still accomplishes a lot of really, really health promoting things. So with that in mind, we're going to start out before we do anything with just a little demonstration. So normally when we lift our arms, we use our mind to tell our muscle motor units to fire, to lift those muscles that pull those hands up away from our body. In today's practice, I want you to focus on using your breath. So imagine that these arms, these appendages, are just dead weights, and then the only thing that will lift them from the palm is your breath. So as you inhale through the nose and into the lungs, that breath is like a string pulling the hand up and just lifting the arms up without any muscles firing. And then the out breath is what allows them to lower against gravity. So rather than initiating movement with our muscles, we are initiating movement with the mind through the breath. It sounds confusing, but I'm going to cue it throughout today's practice and see if it's a process. It takes practice to get to reframe our thinking about something that we have done automatically for however many years of life we've lived. Okay, so with that in mind, we're just going to start with some breaths, taking a couple big in breaths and exhaling out, folding forward, soft knees, shoulders relaxed, lifting and opening the low back here as we stretch the back of the legs, inhaling nice and slow, coming up. These first three activities are just a nice little warm up for the whole body, particularly orienting for the vestibular system of the inner ear. So we've got a kind of a forward and back movement here at the beginning, inhaling one more time, exhaling and folding forward. Coming up very slowly, making sure that we don't get lightheaded on the way up, finishing at the end with the head. Lifting that heart center up toward the sky. Back to center. This next one, we're going to inhale, float those arms up. Exhale, extend. Coming back to center, inhaling, making sure those knees are slightly bent. We're going to come into a side bend, anchoring through the side of the foot on the side that's being stretched. Inhale, slowly coming up, head comes up last. Exhaling, lowering those hands down. Inhaling, floating up. Exhaling out, lifting from under your arms. Inhaling overhead. Exhaling into a side bend, nice and slow. Head comes down heavy, just like those arms before. Just So just following the motion of the body and the breath. One more time, inhale, floating up. Exhale and extend. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale into that side bend. Nice side stretch here, spiraling the chest open, looking up toward that elbow if that works. Slowly coming up on your inhale. Exhale, lowers those hands. One last time, inhale up. Oh, I messed up, but that's okay. It's the eve of Christmas. We get grace for this week. And last time. Slowly coming back to center. And this last vestibular exercise is rotational. These are aligned with the 3 chambers of our inner ear. Looking over that shoulder, exhaling. Inhaling as you come around. Exhaling. The fluid in those chambers communicates with our brain about where we are in space, our spatial awareness. If we can track our eye gaze with this activity, it's even more beneficial. And if that's really challenging, that might indicate a weakness in the system and something that you might want to do on a more regular basis to strengthen it. Just like muscles, the systems of the body can get weak and they can get strong. Coming back to center. Fantastic. We're going to stretch out all mobilize all the joints of the body. So we're going to place our weight in our front leg and step the back leg back, still feeling stable in this position. So not too far behind you there. We're going to circle that heel, drawing a circle with the heel and allowing the bones of the foot to oscillate through that motion. And then we're going to reverse that direction. We're going to just pour the weight into that back heel, soften the knee, and maybe do a heel toe tap here in a windshield wiper, or maybe balancing and circling and rotating the opposite direction if you're doing that circle. Good. Then this foot's going to come back. We're going to circle that heel, oscillate the bones of the foot as we circle and reverse. These again are really great activities just to do on a daily basis, just a nice little energizer for the whole body. We're going to pour the weight into that back leg. And with support, you can heel toe tap and side to side, or with that knee bent on that standing leg, you can circle the toe, warming up the shin and the ankle, and reverse direction. Good. I'm going to bring both feet in together. We're going to squat down like we're sitting in a chair. So you have a nice straight alignment here. We're not here, right here. We're going to circle those knees around. Just whatever range of motion feels right for you today. And reverse direction. If we had more time, I would do these a little longer, but this is a really short class. I find that most people can carve out 30 minutes, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Widen your stance. We're going to cock our hip out to one side and drive that train around the station. So make a nice big circle with the hips, including opening up the front body. It's easy to stick the rear end back, a little harder to open up the front body, especially if we do a lot of sitting and these hip flexors are tight. We're going to rotate the opposite direction, breathing as you go, and bringing it down tall. Take the arms, just shake them out alongside the body. And then we're going to take this into a flying dragon or rotating drum, where we turn our shoulders and square those hips up as we rotate in the shoulders. And then bring it back to center. We're going to take those shoulders and shrug them up and around and lower down. The inhale draws them up toward the ears, and then exhale down the spine. One more. And then last, take those arms all the way around. Inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you come down. Just one more. Modifying today's warm-up just a little bit for the purposes of time. I'm going to extend those arms out in front. I'm going to roll those wrists. And reverse. And the last thing that we're going to do is just finger touches, nice and easy, touching each finger to the thumb and then coming back. And then shake it all out. Nice deep breath in and out. So for our practice, we bookend it with some standing meditation. And this is where we're really going to get into this focus on our breath, guiding our movement. So our feet are going to be about hip distance apart, hip bones. Our knees are soft, tailbone is tucked, torso is tall, spine is really stacked in a nice straight line. Elbows are bent but hanging loosely at our sides, and the palms of the hands are facing each other in front of what's called the dantian, between the belly button and the top of the pubic bone. We're really going to allow ourselves to just sink and settle into this stance, kind of like you have a tap root drilling its way down into the earth, anchoring and rooting you in your spot. And if it feels accessible to you, you can close your eyes. You can keep them open if that feels more available, and just kind of have a soft gaze. Really important that we just begin to release the tension that we tend to hold in the face, around the eyebrows, the jaw, the lips. Do the same thing through the arms, hands, wrists, fingers. Bring that breath into a deeper cadence, a nice slow cadence, and we'll practice that breath guiding the motions of the body. So as we inhale through the nose, mouth closed lightly, I'm going to expand those hands out. So the breath is like pushing those palms out away from each other as the belly extends and gets bigger with the air filling the lungs. And then as the air pushes out of the lungs, those hands, palms draw back in toward one another. Inhaling. And exhaling. One more breath in. Presses those palms apart. Final out breath in this posture draws them in toward each other and then down toward the body as our eyes open if they're closed. So continuing with that as we bring ourselves into regulating the breath. That inhale floats those palms up just like at the beginning. And then the exhale draws them in toward the lungs and then down the front of the body. It's very slow. We're thinking about a nice, slow, deep breath. The movements become very, very slow, flowing like water. Because we're slowing today's practice down a little bit more intentionally, we'll probably go through fewer repetitions of each motion. Ideally, we want to get in 8 or 9. But again, that really requires a little bit more time than we have in today's class. So we'll probably do between 4 and 6 of each activity today. One more of these, inhaling those palms floating up. And exhaling them down. Excellent. All right. Moving into something called pushing the boat. So the hands float across the horizon and we root our body down through a back leg as we step the front leg just slightly out, exhaling those palms out. The inhale draws them back, the toe lifts. The exhale flows us forward. Nice deep, slow in-breath. Cycles the hands back around. Nice long, full out-breath. Floats them out in front. Muscles are not engaged in the upper body, minimally engaged. Last one here. I'm going to draw back into center and switch sides. Inhaling, floats the hands across, anchoring that leg as we step out. Exhaling, floats the hands out in front. Body weight just toggles nice and easy. Exhaling. Notice if you're holding your breath or tightening your stomach as you're breathing, and allow all those muscles around the organs, the diaphragm, the abdominal muscles, to just relax and allow nice free flow of in-breaths and out-breaths. Last exhale here. And we'll inhale as we draw back in and exhale as we step in and down. Coming into shouldering the sun and the moon, we're going to rotate our body, lifting our palms with the inhale. Then the exhale brings us center and palms lowering and pressing down. The knees are slightly bent. We really want to turn the shoulders without turning the hips. So we feel a twist in the waist. Again, focusing on that breath. Inhale, pulls the palms up till they hit about the ears, and then the exhale just draws them down toward the floor. You can further regulate that out breath by closing the channel in the back of the throat slightly, making kind of an oceanic sound as you exhale. One more on each side. Coming into great spirit bird spreads its wings. That inhale floats those arms up overhead, pressing the palms to the ceiling, and the exhale folds the wings back into center. Step to the opposite side, inhaling those arms overhead, and exhaling back to center. Do the same thing with a forward step. Left foot stepping toward me, inhaling, lifting the back heel, pressing the palms up. Stepping back as you exhale. The inhale Draws the foot forward and the hands overhead. Heel up. The exhale brings you back for another set, starting with your left side, inhaling overhead. Exhaling to center. Inhaling side. Exhaling center. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. We'll do 2 more sets just like that. As you lift those arms overhead, lift from under the arms, removing the tissue of the body where really, really heavy concentration of our lymph nodes and tissues and vessels are located, keeps the immune system functioning. You'll notice as I go through each movement in these postures, my knees and my elbows are always slightly bent, facilitating the flow of energy from one part of the body to the next. Locking those joints kind of closes the door. This time as we step out, we're going to bend at the knees. Arms just come out to the sides. We're going to squat down, inhaling for lifting the millstone from the bottom of the sea. The exhale draws the hands back down and the foot to center. We're just going side to side on this one, inhaling, opening and lowering down, weight back in the heels, chest and eye gaze high to keep the weight out of our knees. Inhaling, opening and lowering, lifting, exhaling, back to center. Again, moving parts of the body where we have a lot of lymph tissue, that groin, intentional motion, strengthening the immune system. Back to center and together. The hands are going to come out to one side. We're going to step with the heel, draw the hands across, bring that other foot inside for kind of an empty step or behind diagonally. This is opening the window and looking up at the moon. The inhale draws us over to one side, and the exhale rotates the body, eye gaze back. That lower option is always just to bring that toe in and stay tall. And work your way into building the strength and the balance to do the more advanced option. So staying there for the lower option and moving to here for the more challenging option. As the motions get more challenging and vigorous, it's harder to maintain the focus on that breath. So just do your best. It's all good. We're moving. Last one right here. And back to center. We're going to draw the hands down the center line, around to the back pockets, palms facing out as we step out, bringing the arms forward, inhaling, drawing back, toe lifting in front, dusting off the wind, exhaling. The inhale pulls the palms into the center line and down. The exhale sweeps out, backs of the hands touching almost. Reversing, inhaling. Here we're going to draw everything in on the inhale and just transfer right on over to the other side. Exhaling out. Inhaling brings the palms in, down and around. Exhaling sweeps them out together. Breath is the primary driver of movement. Last one. Drawing back into center. And coming into something called Old Man Strokes His Beard. So it's a little side step, inhaling those hands up, step in, exhaling them down. It's again, the inhale that leads the heel and leads the palms, and the exhale that lowers those palms down. Big inhale, nice and slow. Exhaling all the way out. You may notice a slight warmth or tingling sensation in the palm of the hand, which is quite normal. It's the Lao Gong, energetic point, gate in the body. This practice is intended for cultivating vitality and energy. One more on each side. And then we'll come into just a standing meditation posture. So nice tall spine, tailbone tucked, chest open. The hands are going to float out in front of the body. Generally speaking, females, right hand is closest into the body, and it's the opposite for men. The hands are floating loosely out in front of that dantian. Arms are relaxed alongside the body. Eyes can be open with a soft gaze or closed. We're just going to really settle into that breath awareness. Practice being mindfully present without any planning, sense of urgency or need to analyze our current situation. Just really emptying the mind to the degree possible. When thoughts work their way in, just invite them to leave. You can greet them at the door, invite them to sit out in the waiting room for a few moments. Just practice being present with awareness, gratitude. As we take our next inhale, we'll open our eyes, and then the exhale lowers those hands down. Then we can inhale those hands to heart center. Maybe think of something that we observed during our practice of breath awareness today. Something that we can try to incorporate into our daily lives. Sometimes it's just taking a moment to breathe in and breathe out, just noticing, not even as a stress reliever, just paying attention to the most vital essence of our being, breath. We rely on it every day. We pay very little attention to it. So I invite you to set an intention to take at least one mindful breath every day. Thank you for practicing today with me. To your health.